if partial. D, the site's topography is not compatible with the layout of the development's lotting. The grading and site alterations necessary to achieve the proposed alternative concept plan would be extensive and in contrast to the R2 zoning's legislative intent, as well as problematic to future property owners. E, further planning discussions and plan reviews need the pedestrian circulation zones, conduits, trails, trail easements, and sidewalks placed on future plans. F, development setbacks from Route 29 gravel pike are non-conforming to current zoning and would further create a lack of visual appropriateness to the site's location and context. G, the Lower Frederick Planning Commission recommends that the applicant eradicate the existing AT&T easement for the site. This would enable the developer to gain some much-needed developable area for adjusting and improving the Melbourne Hills site plan. H, the site should have a second vehicle access. The proposed emergency access is not well located and does nothing for the problems of project's internal traffic flow. It was noted that the proposed boulevard main development entry was an improvement over the previously discussed alternative plan. I, a dedicated through road easement and associated lot spacing should be provided as part of the current plan's development. This road should not be required of the Polycomp properties, but would function so as to allow for this option to be exercised by the township at a necessary future date. The recommended Melbourne Hill road easement should be aligned with the existing Rose Lane easement. J, the development planning should provide for some off-street parking as was discussed at the September 2018 Lower Frederick Planning Commission meeting. K, the site's buffering should be kept natural in order to help maintain the area's rural character and minimize stormwater related issues. L, the Lower Frederick Planning Commission recommends that the LFT Board of Supervisors employ the recommendations and comments made at the September 20th, 2018 meeting concerning sewering in their continuing discussions. That's the extent of the comments.
Thank you.
Well, this raises another issue, is would you consider doing some twins?
Sure.
Like some twins, and just to relieve some of the crowding?
We're happy to do the math on any of those things, so it would just
I mean, there are
depend.
some people who would like to live in the community, but maybe they don't have quite as big a budget, and a twin might be attractive.
I'm gonna throw a rock out. I'm gonna have to get by, because I'm gonna actually point at the map. So, yeah, thank you. I might just walk out. We talk a lot about open space in here, and obviously we're using a lot more land here, less acreage for open space here. Take a couple of these properties, 5 properties, 6 properties, extend a road out here and put them out here instead. So that you have some of that open space that Marla has been talking about and some other individuals have expressed interest in. You have less crowding, less parking issues, less congestion, open it up a little bit. You're not using as much acreage, but you are allowing for those 5 or 6 more properties to exist out in the way. And again, not saying that that has to be definitive, that's just an idea that can be put out there.
So are you talking about having on the cul-de-sac go further, or just kind of narrowing out that kind of oval? So they're kind of pushing that oval out a little bit?
So moving some of those interior properties, and just as Ben is
You could
proposing
create
right there.
a cul-de-sac and do that, yeah.
So
Correct.
my question is, where are the woods? Because it would be nice to preserve a lot of those woods, if possible.
He's right in front of him.
Somewhere around
So
Yeah.
that would go into the woods.
See
there. That's
that,
correct.
that square that sticks down there? Yes,
Mhm.
the wood line goes straight down. But it only goes so far, and then there's an open field behind it that has a swimming pool back there fenced off.
Right.
Then it goes into another open field.
So I guess
Shall we
I
say
would like to
exhibit
see
A?
some of those woods preserved.
I agree with you, but if we're
There's a
talking
way to
about
do it.
trying to relieve congestion and we're sticking with mainly single-family detached homes, potentially with a combination of some twins, it might be something that we need to take into consideration. There you go.
So there's
Thanks,
South
Tom.
Station.
Yeah.
Come in,
There you go.
and move it up and down and this one, and just get a little of this.
So you wouldn't have to destroy all the
Yeah,
woods.
you could do
No.
that.
You could take a corner of this off like this
Right.
and make this come through. And I don't know about connecting to Rose Lane. Those people did not wanna hear it.
Well, I
I'm gonna
think-
tell you right now, and I'm just letting you know, you better contact them before you even think of doing
Well,
that.
my understanding is this is not connecting to Rose Lane, this is having
No,
an
it
easement,
wasn't, but
which
it was brought up.
theoretically could connect to at some point in the future or not,
Yeah, I
but it would provide the
actually-
potential.
I would encourage you to drive down Rose Lane and take a look at it. My opinion would be not to connect in here, but that's just my own. I have driven down there several times.
Well, those people didn't want it, way back, so.
They basically incorporated it into their yards. On this plan, even on this plan, it made more sense to go into the other property, which was basically vacant pasture land at that point, so that in the future, if it ever was developed, the road could continue there, but I agree with you on Rose Lane. My own personal opinion is it doesn't really make sense. It's also tougher grading wise too.
You got a group of people here now talking about what they want. You know, you got people that live there that don't want something,
Oh,
okay?
I realize that.
So everybody's gotta understand that. You know, you're sitting here and you're talking about what yous want. But remember, there's people that live out there that don't want something, okay?
Well, 20 years in the future, half of us won't be living here maybe, so.
Ben, I got another question for you. So I'm looking at open space D on the first map.
Sure.
And where the roadway goes, I'm just gonna point to it. Yep. No, this part right here. Map I'm looking at right here shows less trees, correct? Is that where that road would be?
Roughly.
So theoretically, where that road could be over there too, you could limit the amount of trees.
Correct, yeah, if you came through here.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't even, if you took a cul-de-sac and continued it, I don't even think you would
We wouldn't
get
even
that far. I think it'd be
Okay.
probably,
So talking about preserving trees, that we would still be
right,
able to do that.
I think what you do is you'd probably put your minimum cul-de-sac's 250 feet, you'd probably put a 250 foot cul-de-sac there. And load it on both sides, and that would be enough to pull out some lots out of the middle.
Well, that would solve a couple problems, is we'd have more open space there, so if a kid wants to go and throw a baseball, there's a place to do it, which you have in the original plan, plus we're preserving some of the woods and a lot of the other open space. That
And you
might
would
be
still
good
have a big
compromise.
piece on the northern end still. Wouldn't be quite as big as this, but it'd be pretty big.
Carol, what's the minimum length of a cul-de-sac? Is there a minimum in the code?
Is it 250?
It would be homeowners association owned, so I don't know if liquid fuels would apply.
Oh, I don't know.
Is that-
Usually 250.
Liquid fuels, I think, is a max for 800.
Yeah.
That's not.
Let's let them finish first.
Correct.
Hold up with the comment.
But I think our ordinance
Well,
is
it's
more
more
of
of
a
a
question, but I can wait till the end. I'll be with you in a minute, nothing happens after this.
So I have another question while you're searching for that. There's a development in Skippack, which I'm very familiar with, kind of behind the wall lot, and they have really tiny lots, and the driveways are really short, so what is the distance gonna be from like the front door to the street?
So,
For
to
the-
the right of way, we're proposing 20 feet, and then there'd be an additional, what's that, 22, 11 feet to
So
the
if I'm
curb.
pulling out of my driveway in this
30
house,
31
how long
feet.
is my driveway gonna be
So
to the
you-
street?
So
31 feet.
31 feet, I guess, my typical preference is to have a wider grass strip, perhaps a 6-foot grass strip, and then a 4-foot sidewalk, so that's 10 feet, and then you'd have 21 feet to the garage.
Okay, so that's not that
And
bad.
we actually, those are only suggested standards. We can play with the standards a little bit, increase some of the yards a little bit.
Ernie?
Yeah, I had raised this question before we talked about the planning commission. You came back with a boulevard entrance. And
Yes.
and I've been around to many developments in my, time with Rico, working on projects. In this case here, you have the 4 lots up there with the boulevard. You have 2 lots on the right, 2 lots on the left.
Yep.
Why couldn't you take them first of all, you're too close to 29 there. We've talked about that, Marla brought it up. Why couldn't that road sweep to the right and go straight ahead and take those 4 lots and move them up at the end. And the boulevards normally in developments like this, where you're talking about value, have a good open presentation. So you would drive in, you could go to the right with a nice radius bend that way, or else you could stay straight and come around. And that would give us good dimension off of 29 and build a nice wide boulevard, and it would be a good presentation for the site overall.
Yes, I think moving these homes, perhaps back here, is certainly doable. When you talk about sweeping, I guess, we'd wanna come in at a 90-degree angle to 29. Is there a particular distance, or, I guess?
No, you would just come in and swing to the right because you've taken that lot on the left. That's been eliminated. And that would just bring your radius around, and then you'd have your first home after that on the right side, but you'd have that open space there
Doing
of
this,
left and right of your boulevard.
you're talking about doing this?
Right,
Yep.
right there,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
There's no minimum cul-de-sac length, just a maximum of 800
Okay.
feet.
Oh, okay.
You might only have to remove the one
Yeah.
house on the right and maybe one on the left. And how much extra distance would that give you to the road?
70 more feet.
You know,
Yeah, you-
that would be significant,
Yeah.
yeah.
Linda?
Thank you. Linda Jansen, Simmons Road. I had posed this question at the planning commission meeting. I was unable to get an answer. I don't believe the supervisors can answer it. Perhaps Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Keenan would be able to answer it. Based on the conditional approval, preliminary conditional subdivision approval that was granted on February 5th of 2008. Here's the letter with the conditions. It said it was based upon the previous Board of Supervisors decision and order dated May 18th of 2005. And all of these conditions were to be made, inclusive and made conditions of this. In that particular one, on page 3, it's under condition number 3, land development, paragraph A. It was said that it was the reduction of lots, number of lots, to 46, eliminating lot 47. Yet, then there was some zoning hearing board hearings. And based on the zoning board hearing held October 22nd of 2007, it said that it would increase it to 48 lots with the donation of the 7 acres of land that was on Swamp Creek Road and Big Road, which they no longer own, and they can no longer donate those 7 acres to the township. My question is, how did we get from 46 to 48? No one can seem to answer how that happened. Everybody assures me something was but if you read through this letter, the only 2 references it makes to lot additions or lot reductions are in the reducing it from 47 down to 46, and then it references the zoning hearing board decision of October 22nd, 2007, yet somehow in between May 18th of 2005 and October 22nd of 2007, somehow or another it went back up from 46 lots to 47 lots. Then with the donation of the land up to 48. So how did it go from 46 back up to 47? That is my question.
I don't know, but I have a pretty thick file.
That may eliminate when you're saying about that one lot. Maybe that's the key to this whole thing. Bring it back down to 46 lots and develop upon that. That may help with the congestion. I mean, if there's no legal entitlement to that 48th lot, I don't know. And this is why I was directed to ask the question of the solicitor. Because I'm not saying that one lot is gonna make that much difference, but, it's like we're playing a chess game here. Let's move this here, let's move this here, let's move this here. And if it's maybe one less lot would make it easier to design a plan that everybody can agree upon.
Alright, well,
I
guess
would,
you'd have to look into that.
Yeah.
I
I'd be
really
happy to-
appreciate
there were
if
a couple
somebody could
conditional
answer
use
that, because
hearings
nobody
and
seems to be able to answer
a
that
whole series
question.
of hearings, so.
And I don't have any paperwork, and perhaps maybe Select Properties or
Okay,
Form
all right.
THP. Thank you.
Well, I have a document which says, before the zoning hearing board, I don't know what the date of this, but in para 4, it says, find decision and order findings of fact. Para 4, the applicant is now proposing one additional lot beyond the 47 lots permitted in the 2005 order.
The 2005 order only permitted 46 lots.
Well,
This is what I'm saying.
this was in the zoning hearing board discussion, so somehow they got to 47.
Well, that's my question. How do you get to
Unless it's a
47?
typo.
Is it a typo? So maybe they are only
I don't
able
know.
to 46 now.
I think we'll go back and look.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's
I'll let
Sure.
Sherry go.
Sherry Stryker, Bank Road. Can someone speak to the sewer question? Because I think the other question that we have on the table for discussion today is the different mechanisms of sewering these properties. So I didn't hear anything of that in the planning commission minutes.
Can anyone on the planning commission speak to?
I think the sewer issue was left to the supervisors. It's your decision on how that's handled.
We referenced the comments at the September meeting as guidance for the Board of Supervisors.
The grinder pump proposal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your call, the way you feel.
Dan?
Dan Orff, Kratz Road. As much as I like open space, in hearing what they're talking about and seeing this density and seeing what it might look like, and also the fact that based upon certain changes, they're gonna have to clear up the original plan anyhow. I don't think, and the open space they're giving us is not gonna be accessible. I think we're better off, from a township perspective, property values, and not open ourselves up to renegotiating the entire R2 zoning for the township. I mean, I think I have way too much to lose by tinkering with this thing on the right, just to get a couple spare, I mean, so open space is nice, that has open space too, it's not quite as much, but I think we're trading off too much and getting too little, to be honest. From everything people are saying, you're gonna have people parked on the road here, it's gonna be some of the problems that they have over in some of the communities in Village, yeah, and you're gonna have the same type of issues because it's not too many everybody's got multiple cars, these are gonna be one-car garages at best.
No, there'll be two-car garages.
Two-car
There'll be
garages.
two-car garages.
Figure out, okay,
With 30-foot driveways. We pack a lot of cars there.
well,
They would be double width driveways. as well.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the total dimension of the driveway? 30 by what?
yeah.
So, just so we're clear on the specifics, so,
Ish.
it would be 31 feet from the curb. And so then there'd be a driveway apron that would be 6 feet, sidewalk that would be 4, and then 21 feet of asphalt. And the width would be 18 feet wide.
Yeah, and every one of them would be driveways going directly into a garage. I mean, it doesn't really, it goes back to the aesthetics that we were talking about, it really doesn't blend in well with Lower Frederick aesthetics. And, you know, I'd rather give up, I'd rather give up the 25% extra open space in order to get a development that I think would sell better. I hate to give up open space, but opening ourselves up for, you're setting a precedent that other developers can come along and hammer us on, so.
Well, I think the proposal was to consider an overlay which would limit, rather than having our zoning allowing this development everywhere, it would limit that smaller lotting to a very prescribed area. So this is part of the
You
discussion.
still give another, I've seen this play out in other townships. They'll hammer you with, I don't know if Carol can speak to it or not, but they'll hammer you with the fact that you gave another developer the rights to do it, why and what made them special?
Dan, if I can ask you, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're suggesting something more like the first plan, maybe a little bit of an amendment to it?
Yeah, because they have to amend it anyhow, because it's out of compliance with the
Correct.
original write-up that was done in 2008. There's one fewer lot that's supposed to be there at a minimum. But rather than changing lot sizes, I mean, I think we were asking ourselves, getting ourselves into some real.
Then what's the lot size difference between the first one and the second one?
So it's 10,000 square foot lot here, 7,000 square foot lot here. The side yards, you have 10-foot minimum side yard here.
Yeah.
This is also 10-foot side yard here. In terms of the homes, we would envision it would be very similar in terms of, this would be the same thing where it would be 2-car garage and straight in. So from an aesthetic perspective of the homes, that they would be similar.
So let's meet in the middle somehow. If we did 8,500 square foot lots, could that save some more open space then?
Sure, it would, it just depends the configuration of the lot, so, these are 80 feet wide, these are 70 feet wide.
Yeah, but I think one thing to keep in mind is the market has changed. I mean, that's just a reality. I mean, we can say, I mean, I live on over an acre, I love my house, but if I were to maybe look at a house now, I might be looking at that, because, you know, we have a lot of yard work. And I think if we want to maintain our rural character, saving a significant portion of that and leaving it as is, I mean, we were out there today and there were deer there. Those deer didn't have nowhere to go if you cover the whole place. So there's always compromises. I think some of our goals, we want to shelter the existing neighbors. We want to have enough setback from 29. We don't want people on top of each other. But I think we can make some compromises, and we'd have to do it in a way that would do, I mean, we're not saying this is what we're gonna do, I'm just speaking for myself, but, you know, times change, and people don't want to cut grass on the weekend, they wanna go out and, for the weekend.
That's
They
a
just
simple-
don't.
You're right, and that's how we started, you know, when I came a month or two ago, it was why I took the time to prepare this kind of concept, because this is what we're seeing more in the marketplace. And just, you know, thought we'd suggest this as a conversation
And these
starter.
are bigger than the original, because the original ones were really tiny.
They were, that's correct.
They were teeny tiny.
That's good. And we're open to a conversation, as you can tell, you know, it's a fluid conversation.
How big are the houses gonna be? How many square feet?
So it'd be anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. And then people can finish their basement and it's, they'd be perhaps more.
So 3,500 are just 2 stories, those are big houses.
Yeah.
And you think you're gonna find 47 people who are gonna buy a 3,500 square foot house just on 2 levels? That's like a 5,000 square foot house, that's huge.
Yeah, I think it would,
That's a big,
I don't
big
think,
house.
and I don't think they would, I don't think there'd be 47 people, but, and so typically what we see is, you know, it's a typical bell curve in terms of what people buy in terms of size. So perhaps an average square foot house might be 3,000 square feet.
Would you consider as part of this to have maybe a couple doubles in the mix to conserve some space?
So, you know, again, with doing twins or attached product, we would just wanna look at the math and say, okay, what does that do on our side, to make sense? And so, we could come back to you with a proposal if you wanted us to, it just, I wanna be upfront